welcome back. Today I thought that I would just do like a reading vlog. I don't have like a theme in particular or anything, but there's so many books that I want to get through this week. Not even necessarily this week, just like the next couple books I want to get through. And so I thought that I would vlog it. I guess getting through my TBR would be the theme. So I'm in the middle of A Court of Wings and Ruin right now, and I'm actually way further than this. So I'm actually there. I'm on chapter 76. I, in the audiobook, only have an hour and a half to go, and I normally listen on 2x speed since I hybrid read. So an hour and a half, 45 minutes. Really close to the end of this one. I absolutely devoured it. I took a huge break after Akamath. It's not that I didn't like Akamath. I feel like that's one of the more preferred books of the series. I wasn't obsessed with it. I think I still gave it like 4 stars. But it was just long. I felt like there was so much filler. And so then looking at this one next, I was like, wow, if that book had thriller and it's like 200 pages shorter than this, then I'm really nervous about how she's going to write this huge of a book and have it all be relevant. I was like, I'm so scared I'm going to get bored. I really like getting through series. I'm definitely a completionist. So the fact that I own them all and still took like, you know, a quarter of a year, a third of a year to move on to the next one is pretty telling. So I was nervous, but dare I say, I might like this one more than Akamath. At first I was so bored because she's like, well, I can't say any spoilers, but if you've read it, you know. At the beginning I was bored because I was like, oh, here we go again, you know what I mean? But there's like almost no filler in here. I'm sorry, but there's almost nothing in here that I feel like was unnecessary. I feel like we're really starting to build upon like the family of characters, and all the side characters I care about so much, and I think knowing more about them through this book made it seem like it's not really filler. These people aren't filler. Their backgrounds, the stories, like this all is actually adding to the story, whereas I didn't feel that way with Akamath. I really felt like it was very surface level and there was so much I didn't care about and could have been taken out, and that book could have been just as short as Akatar, if not even shorter. I felt like, really. I think people hype it up because of the love romance element in it, but I don't think that that alone justifies all the rest of it. The pacing's so like not great, but this one is super intense. This really reminds me of like a, I don't know, almost like more like a really high fantasy type of book sort of level, with like the war going on and all the different lore and like everything. It's super intense and I flew through it. I've only been reading it, I started it maybe like a week and a half ago, but then I didn't pick it. I read like the first couple chapters and I was like, oh, here we go again. And so I stopped reading it, and then I've read all of that in the last like day and a half. So I got a lot done with my crochet project, I'll tell you that, but I've just devoured it. Dare I say this might be my favorite so far, which I know is not the popular opinion, but I'm eating it up. I love it so much. So I will definitely finish this today. I'm probably gonna sit down and just finish it right now because I have 45 minutes. We're right at like the climax of the story. Then that's a huge one off. Before I start on to, oh my God, what's it called? I don't have my glasses. A Court of Frost and Star. The blue one, the little one that people say is like super pointless. It's ultimately like a snowball fight, I guess. I don't know, I've never read it. That's what people say. Anyways, before I start onto that, as badly as I do want to just continue on in this series now that I'm really feeling it, I have some holds that came in from the library that I really need to read before they go back, and they're ones I've waited a very long time for, so I don't want them to go back. So I do need to finish them. I finally got in Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, the newest Emily Henry. Me and Emily Henry lately, kind of on a downfall, kind of in a rough patch in our relationship, because the last 2, Happy Place and Funny Story, pretty mid for me. I actually really didn't like Happy Place, and then Funny Story was like a 3.54, but for Emily Henry, that's like really low for me because normally she's like a straight 5 every time. So I'm really scared that for me personally, it's never going to be able to live up to beach read, book lovers, and people we meet on vacation. I'm super scared that it's like my reading taste doesn't align with her writing taste anymore, because I have reread those books recently, and they're all still 5 stars. So I know it's not that my reading taste alone has changed to not like her style. I feel like her style's changed a little bit, which is fine. It happens. Like, people change, authors are gonna grow. Like, it'd be weird if they didn't. But I just don't know if it's like an all-time, if I can say all-time favorite anymore. This one was kind of going to be the determining factor of that, and I'm really nervous for it, but I have waited like 8 months for this audiobook, so I'm not letting it pass. And I'm excited to get into it. I don't even actually know what it's about, I'll be honest. Emily Henry is just kind of like an auto buy for me, or auto read at this point. 2 writers compete for the chance to tell the larger-than-life story of a woman with more than a couple of plot twists up her sleeve. Okay. Like, interesting. Okay, interesting. So I have that I really need to read. And then I also have The Housemaid's Wedding, which my library just got on audio, which I was really surprised by. So I did put in, I have been waiting for this one. This is supposed to take place after the second book. What is that one? The Housemaid's Secret, I think, right? It's supposed to take place after that, and since I haven't read the third one yet, I thought it would be the perfect time to read this. It's only 2 hours, so I do want to read this one at some point this week to be able to pass it along. I think like 6 people are waiting or something like that for me to for me to read it, but I was trying to finish this hunker. Sorry. I'm doing the best I can. I would at some point also like to read, I feel like it's been a long time since I've read a really great graphic novel, and I have been really wanting to read Molly Knox Ostertag's next Dungeon Club book, which is Dungeon Club Time to Party. The first one was a 5-star read for me, and she came out with a second one, this one, and now a third one is about to be released, I think early next year or late this year, I saw on Goodreads. So I was like, dang, I need to catch up in that series. That's kind of where I'm at. Kind of just getting through my TBR, like 3 technically series catch-ups. Because I have this series, the Housemaid is a series, and then the Dungeon Club is a series. Look at me. Look at me. Who would have thought? Not me. Before June, I had a really bad reading year. I only read like 10 things the whole year before June. And then I read some absolute bangers in June. Some 5 stars, some 4.5, some 4s. Everything was a 4 or above. And I read like 5 or 6 things, and everything was at least a 4. And so that really brought me back to wanting to read and getting through my TBR and all of that. So many of the books were physical reads as well, which has made me really motivated to get through my physical TBR. Definitely out of my reading slump, I feel like really, really loving reading again. And I just want to catch up in some series, you know, in that time that I've been kind of not reading, catch up on my TBR, catch up on some new releases. So that's just kind of the goal for this video. There's no set time frame, like I said. This isn't necessarily like a weekly reading vlog. I'm just gonna read all the books I said and talk about them and try to catch up a little bit. Like I said, series, TBR type stuff. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's finish this. I don't think it's gonna take long, but let's see, let's see. The end. I do stand that I think that I like this better than Akamath. I just feel like so much happens in here. It's like so addicting. It's very dramatic and intense and action-packed and highs, lows, adventure. Like, there's so much going on in here and I loved it. I feel like I ate it up. It was the fastest I've ever read a 700-page book. That was my sister. Yes, it's amazing. Once you're done there, you have to start Throne of Glass. Do you agree? I do have Throne of Glass. She says it's way better than this, which I didn't think that I would like this very much, and I'm actually pretty addicted to it, I'm not gonna lie. And so if she's saying Throne of Glass is that much better, that must be really good. Anyways, I really like this. I would say probably 4.5 stars. I think all the other 2 have been 4 stars. I think I would give this one 4.5. So that is 1 book down. I can't believe how fast I read this. But 1 book down from my little TBR for this video. Being pregnant is so weird. Like, I do not feel like I can drink enough water in my life. I could drink 2 gallons and still be so parched. So I did end up just finishing, what is it, The Housemaid's Wedding. I gave it 1 star. I'm so sorry to everybody involved. It was so pointless. I actually do love The Handmaid. I always want to say The Handmaid's Tale. No, The Housemaid. I love that series, actually. It's like popcorn thriller. I read them so fast. I know that the writing's not good. I know it's very surface level, but that's kind of why I like it. It's a good break from other things. It really breaks up my reading. It kind of is just like light, fluffy popcorn, like, you know, it's nothing too serious or anything. I really do like this series, actually, and so I was excited about this novella, but there wasn't even like a thrill to it. There wasn't a point to it at all. It was super unnecessary. It actually was like a waste of time, and I feel so bad saying that because, like, obviously every piece of literature, every piece of art, every piece of content, like, people put energy into, but I don't know what this was. Like, I don't get the point. I don't know why she wrote it. It didn't add anything to anything, like, at all. I've tried to think of, like, what that would even set up for book 3, because I haven't read book 3 yet, because it literally says on there to read it in between book 2 and 3. That's what I'm doing, and I'm just like, what could that have possibly even helped with at all? I have already reviewed it on Goodreads, and then I went and looked at other people's reviews because I wanted to see if there was anyone that's already read book 3 that could give some insight, and everyone seems to also say that it was super pointless. So even people who have read book 3 already, like, agree that it wasn't really, like, a necessary addition. I'm happy to have continued in the series. Obviously, we're getting series done this reading blog, but at what cost? At what cost? We're moving on from that. I did, because I had some stuff to do around the house, so I did instantly start Great Big Beautiful Life. It's typical Emily Henry. I think let me see. Damn, 24%. Okay, so I'm already 1/4 of the way done. It's very typical Emily Henry. Like, it's very funny. I have, you know, LOL, chuckled a couple times. You know, it's the type of book that's just like, you know, a good beach read. It's silly, it's fun. But here's what I'm feeling so far. I feel like when I'm reading this book, is this not like the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but like a different, like, setting? Like, the entire concept is identical, almost, except they're both competing for the story. But if you took, like, the 7 Husbands and added in somebody else with, what was her name? Monique? It would be like the exact same thing. So that's wild, because they're both 2 very popular authors right now, and so to even do something similar is like really taking a chance. So it's kind of throwing me off, because it's like, okay, why am I reading the same story twice? She has to be familiar with that story, so it feels a little like copy paste. Obviously there's no original ideas really at this point in human existence, you know, like, and 2 people can have the same idea on the opposite ends of the world. There's no way that she hasn't read that story, and so I'm just kind of like, ugh. It put a little bit of an ick, you know, it gave me the ick a little bit, just because it was like, I know you've read that shit, and it's too similar for me to be like comfortable. But we'll see. There's a couple things that she could like change or have happen that would make me be like, okay, yeah, like, kind of same thing, but, you know, switched up a little bit. But so far, it's not even just like a trope. It feels like almost exactly like that style of story and like that exact content, and like, you know, so it's really similar. 25%, like I said, it's Emily Henn. I do love the writing. I have really enjoyed the banter that they have, and, you know, it's fun. Like, I'm having fun with it. My only issue so far is that I'm like, how is this not 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but just like tweaked a little bit? Okay, I did just read a little bit more, and you guys, first of all, what is this lighting? 1 second. Really a little bit better. I don't know what that, I think it glitched because I was in the dark and then I went under the window. But anyways, apologies for the jump scare. I did just read like an hour, 2 hours, so like 2 to 4, depending. I don't actually know. But we're getting more into the story the story, if you've read it, you know, like the story that she's interviewing, because like I said, this is really like Evelyn Hugo in the sense of like it's a story within a story, and she's telling this story, and so we get that version as well. So we get their story as like a couple, or like, you know, enemies to lovers type shit, and then we're also getting the person they're interviewing story. And I don't know if it's going to come together in the same way Evelyn Hugo did. If it does, then that's going to be really crazy. Because, like, that's going to be weird. But I don't think it'll connect in that way, but it's got to connect in some way. And right now, I don't care. I don't care about the story at all. It's not intriguing like Evelyn Hugo's story was. I know I keep comparing the two books, which is unfair on some level, but I also feel like they're so similar, so it's hard not to compare them, you know? In the last, like, part that I read, there was, like, a whole hour that was, like, dedicated to her story, and there were some reveals that I feel like we were supposed to be kind of like, oh, that's crazy, but unfazed. I'm starting to get the characters mixed up in the story even. Like, I'm really trying my darndest, but there's so many characters. She went all the way, she, like, asked her to tell her about her family, and she went back to, like, the very beginning. Like, the oldest text they have, the oldest person they know of in their lineage. And it's like, are we supposed to care about all of this? I don't know. A little bit further in, I'm really not liking it, because half of the story I don't care about. I don't even think should have been included. The other half is interesting. Like I said, I love the way Emily Henry writes just like fun small towns and interesting side characters, and like the banter and stuff between them. It's always so fun, so witty. It's just adorable. I eat it up. But this book it doesn't have enough of that. This whole other story within a story, to me, could care less. And I'm sure somehow they have to come back and connect, but that's the update. That's the update for now. I think so far probably my least favorite Emily Henry. For me, book lovers, people we meet on vacation, beach read, funny story, happy place, this one. This one so far is at the bottom. Maybe tied with Happy Place. I really didn't like the way Happy Place ended. That's what got me, was the ending. So if this one has a good ending, it might tie or even be above it. I'm sorry. Spoiler for anybody who hasn't read it. But I'm in love with you is crazy. It's weird because we're like 73% into the book, and so it's like I'm in love with you with a romance book shouldn't be anything out of the world, like out of this world, especially at this percent in, but yet it felt so random. It felt so weird because it's like I don't feel like they should be in love. I don't feel like they have that sort of connection. That's so weird. Like, we're almost done. I have 3 hours left of the audiobook. It shouldn't be weird, but it is, because I just feel like I don't feel a connection between them personally, and then the whole story within a story is taking away from time that could be spent building a connection between them. Like, they really went 0 to 100 so quick in their relationship, and they like hated each other, but then there wasn't even that angsty enemies to lovers build up. I'm so confused. I don't get the romance. That's so weird. Anyways, I'm gonna try to finish it today. I'm scrapbooking, catching up on my pregnancy scrapbook, and I have 4 pages to do, which normally takes me about 2 hours. So I think I'll be able to finish it while I do this. But when he said that, when he was like, I'm in love with you, I was like, wait. No, you're not. I feel like they don't even know each other. I don't like that at all. I hate how much I'm hating this. But I just don't get it. I'm not getting it. And I'm actually really sad about it, but I'm not getting it. That's just what it is. Anyways, let's continue. I'm just gonna keep my camera here, and I'm just going to update as these thoughts come in. That was definitely, in my opinion, the worst Emily Henry book. And that's saying a lot, because Happy Place really pissed me off, actually. I have no idea what even to say about that. I'm so disappointed, because it's like, Obviously, anytime Emily Henry comes out with a book, it's highly anticipated. But that was really weird. A bit of a spoiler. Again, spoiler. The ending, like, we're just rushing and now all of a sudden they have a kid? Like, what? Like, I don't know. I'm just, what? Like, it's just so weird to end off that way. Like, not every love story needs to end with like, oh, we got married or had a kid or like whatever. Like, just let them end up together. There's really no need to keep pushing it further down the line. Also, it did kind of go in the same direction as Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. One of them ended up being related to someone in the story. And I kept thinking that was gonna happen. I think I even said at the beginning when I started it, oh, I hope that it's not, that it doesn't have even the same ending as Evelyn Hugo. Because then it would be really obvious that it was kind of taken, you know? Like, the whole story of Evelyn Hugo kind of was like copy-paste with a couple re-edits in there. But I didn't think that Emily Henry would actually do that as such a big author, and like Taylor Jenkins Reid is such a big author that I was like, wouldn't that be so obvious? So I didn't think it would go in that direction, but lo and fucking behold, she really did it. She really had it be the same twist. In the end, I will say that the story within a story, I did start liking more. I think at the beginning, it's just because she went so far back to talk about her like ancestors from like the jump. I think I just didn't even care because it wasn't even related to people in the, like, in either story. But once it started talking about her own story and with Cosmo and her husband and her sister and all of that, I did get a little more invested in that as time went on. But still not enough to be like impactful when the twist happened. So I don't know, man. It just wasn't for me. And obviously that's so disappointing because I typically love Emily Henry. So another one that wasn't a win. This one, Happy Place, were both just not really wins. This one's by far the worst one though. And I'm so frustrated about it. 3 stars. Dare I even say possibly like 2.5? I'm gonna say 3. I'm gonna say 3 just for the fact that I did start actually caring about the story. And some of the banter was fun. Less with her and the love interest and more with her with the locals and all that. Like that banter was more fun to me than their romance. 2.5, 3. I'm so disappointed. Okay, so the book that I really wanted to read next, the second book in the Dungeon Club series by Mary Knox Ostertag. When I went to go get it from the library, all of a sudden there's like a super long hold on it, which is crazy because it's always been an available now one, and then right when I go, it's like, I think it was like, it wasn't that long, but it was like 6 weeks, which is like, you know, very different than available now. So I've had it on hold for like maybe like 2 days and haven't made any progress. So people are really holding on to that one. But when I noticed became available was actually just A Court of Frost and Starlight. So I was like, you know what? In the meantime, it's a novella. Let's just finish out this reading blog with this because it's still making progress in the series, which that's why I wanted to read the Dungeon Club one, was to make progress in that series. So it's like I'm still, you know, working on active series. I just didn't expect this to be available right away. It is the graphic audio that's available, and I actually really don't like the graphic audios of these ones. I think there's too much background noise. The different voices for the different characters is nice, and, you know, like the little sound effects are cool, but the constant background noise and music is really distracting for me, and it just kind of takes me out of the story. This is so pointless. I don't really get why she wrote this. I don't get what it adds to the series. 32%. So I have 3 hours and 40 minutes to go. So far, they've just talked about what happened in ACOWAR. They've just rehashed everything. They keep reminding you what happens as if you haven't already read it. And it's like, oh, I remember when this happened. And it's like, me too, babes. It was like the book before. Like, let's go. And then it's just talking about kind of how they're feeling post-war. But then it also has this like Christmas holiday element where they're really just walking around buying gifts for each other. Like the whole time, like so far. Again, I'm only like 32%. But it's literally just like walking around buying stuff. Like holiday shopping. And that's like, I just really don't get what that has to do with anything. I'm not loving it at all. Of course, I'm going to finish it and like move on. It's a really short book. So of course I'm going to just push through and, you know, see what happens and be able to move on to Court of Silver Flame. It really bothers me that that's the only book that doesn't have "and" in it. Like, why didn't you just make it like a Court of Silver and Flame or something? Like, why not, like, just keep it going? The lack of continuity is driving me nuts. And same with like the book edges, like how that one's the only one that's different. What are we doing? No, that bothers me so much. I'm really interested to see, because the 6th book just got released, and I'm really interested to see like what that's gonna look like, and what the title's going to be and whatnot, and what it's going to, like, who it's going to follow particularly. There's so many different, like, avenues I feel like she could go down. I'm going to try to finish it today, honestly, just to get it over with, and then that will wrap up this reading vlog. And, yeah, but let's try to finish this one today. Let's try. I might get bored and, like, not want to, but I'm going to try to push through. So I did end up just going ahead and finishing this right away. The more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? Maybe she was using this as kind of a breath of fresh air, or a little break from the intensity of ACOWAR, and then before going into A Court of Silver Flame, it's like maybe she was just using this as kind of a lighthearted, get to know the characters a little bit better, but in a non-serious setting, and just give us kind of a break from the intensity of the war. And then I obviously haven't read A Court of Silver Flame. Flame or Flames? Is it plural? I haven't read that, but obviously it's a huge book. I know it follows Nesta's story, and so I've heard it's very intense. So maybe it was just like supposed to be a breath of fresh air. I don't know. I still stand by that it's not necessary. I don't really feel like it added a ton, but I will say it was more fun than I thought that it was initially. I do think that it kind of grew on me, but I'm such a fan of the holidays. I feel like you could have thrown anything at me, like Christmas, solstice, equinox, like any sort of like holiday or seasonal thing at me, and I would have ate it up. It did actually grow on me quite a bit by the end. It's still only a 3-star, definitely in my opinion the worst in the series. I don't know if I would even consider this like a part of this series. I think it's more like a companion novel, kind of like I don't really think that this is necessary reading, and it doesn't add anything. The holiday stuff did grow on me, like with the pine cones and like all that. Like that was fun actually, more than I thought, but overall still just a 3. So to kind of wrap up this reading vlog, I did read ACOWAR, which I don't feel like getting up to get, but I did read that. That was a 4.5 star. I did read the next book, which is A Court of Frost and Starlight. This one was 3 stars. I did read Great Big Beautiful Life, 2.5 stars probably. It's been a couple days. I think it's been like 5 days since I finished that one. The more it's sitting, the more it's already leaving my brain. Like I don't feel like that's a memorable Emily Henry book. I don't feel like it's a memorable book in general. I stand by what I said about, you know, the Evelyn Hugo comparisons and it feeling a little convoluted and not even believing the romance. Like there weren't a lot of redeeming factors to that book, and I do stand by that even with a little bit more time. So I would say 2.5, unfortunately, for that one. Then I read The Housemaid's Wedding, which I would say I think I gave 1 star, and that I definitely stand by. I don't know how I would rate this reading vlog overall. I got a lot of stuff off my physical TBR. Well, I got 2 things off my physical TBR, but my physical TBR at this point is like 10 bucks. Can you believe it? I think this time last year it was like 60 to 80. There was somewhere in that range. But like getting 2 more off is kind of a huge accomplishment considering how little my TBR is right now. And then I did finish a most anticipated release, which ended up flopping for me, but it's always nice to be caught up in anticipated releases the year of, so I'll take it as a win. And then I did make progress in another series, which was the Housemaid series, that little novella. So now I'm completely and entirely ready for book 3. Not that that one would have made a difference or impacted book 3 at all. Overall, lots of good progress. Overall, lots of series, physical TBR, about what took up about half of the reads this week, and I'm super happy about that. So let me know your thoughts if you've read any of these. Let me know your thoughts on Throne of Glass, because my sister is like dead set, like that the second that I finish ACOTAR, like I need to jump into Throne of Glass. Also, let me know, I know there's like some sort of really weird way you're supposed to read Throne of Glass, and I am not trying to start it. If there's a different way I'm supposed to be reading it and then feel like I have to reread it or like do it over again, because I'm pretty sure Throne of Glass isn't even the first book you're supposed to start with. right? It's like Assassin's Blade, which I've heard you don't have to read first, but everyone who has done it that way seems to say that's the best way to go on a first read. And then you're supposed to tandem read like 2 of the last books or something, right? I don't know all that, but let me know what your thoughts are with Throne of Glass. A lot of people have said for the 6th book of this, you're really going to want to read, which I don't even know how they know this yet. Because I'm like, I feel like we haven't gotten any information about the 6th book, so that's kind of weird to me. But a lot of people, like multiple people on multiple different platforms, I have seen say that for the 6th book, you're going to want to have read Throne of Glass and Crescent City first to get some of the people and references and stuff. You're really telling me it's going to tie in that much to this 6th one? Tell me your thoughts on that too, because I have seen that on multiple TikTok, like Reddit, like I've seen that on multiple different platforms. People saying that you're going to want to read pretty much all of her previous work because it's all coming together, which would be so sick, but I need to know if I need to do this sort of homework before, so I don't want to miss anything, you know? I feel like kind of a successful reading blog. Let me know your thoughts if you've read anything, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!